Well, there are just a few days left before the Orleans municipal election, and candidates and the influencers are making a last-minute push for votes this week. So what can we expect in the last days before Saturday's election day? Joining us now is political analyst Mike Sherman to discuss it with a look at where we stand and how the conversations have changed in the last few days. Tell us more.
They really have. The races have actually taken a very nasty turn. The clerk of criminal courts race, chief among them, the sheriff's race, I think the gloves are off, and we're starting to see personal attacks levied in a way we haven't this election cycle.
Talk more about that. How are they going for the jugular here?
Well, in the clerk's race, the issue is over one candidate who claimed he has been exonerated, which appears to be correct and true. One of his opponents challenging that there was not a declaration of innocence. The Attorney General weighs in on a municipal race, saying that that person was not innocent.
And that's rare.
That's very rare for a state official to get involved in a local race this way, kind of in the Attorney General in an official kind of capacity here.
Sure.
70 law professors, attorneys come through. It has become a pivotal race in who you trust to run the clerk's office. And I think in a race where incumbents are typically pretty safe, I think Darren Lombard still probably came into this race as a safe incumbent, finds himself in a very heated, very personal, very nasty challenge for re-election.
You know, one of the things you were saying, Mike, is that it's not just the candidates discussing the election on social, on television. You have influencers now. Talk about their actual influence.
Yeah, I actually think the bulk of the nastiness in the election cycle is coming from social media influencers, playing a very important and critical role getting messages out, but without fact-checking, right? And without any censors that you might see in mainstream media, right? In many ways, that's a phenomenal contribution to a good dialogue, but in some ways, it allows folks, Gary Chambers trying to take the race in a racially divisive way, to his 500,000 followers, New Orleans voters so far not buying it.
And that was my next question to you. What are we actually seeing at the polls, and is all this noise actually translating into anything meaningful for these top candidates?
We are seeing exactly what we would have predicted from a turnout. Early voting very popular among New Orleans voters. We broke 30,000 as expected. Now almost half of voters who will likely vote, just a little less than half, have probably already voted. So for the candidates, you probably have in a turnout election where somewhere in the mid 70,000 range, like the last election. If we broke 80, that would be a very high watermark for a municipal election. We have probably about half the voters having already voted. Interesting fun fact, about twice as many people vote in presidential elections than in mayoral elections.
Wow.
So we'll see if that holds true this election cycle.
And last point that we were discussing in the commercial break, which is a really good observation here. We're talking about people needing the basics. People are passionate, these voters are passionate about just getting infrastructure to work. Talk about what that's going to mean for this race.
Well, the old Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, used to say all politics are local. But I feel compelled to say we're standing here 2 years after the massacre in Israel that sparked the Gaza-Hamas war. Ukraine and Russia are having a war with no end in sight. Our federal government is shut down. We just heard a story about air traffic control towers being shut down. And when you drive down the street, we have blinking blinking traffic signs. We have boil water advisories. The power goes out, and New Orleans voters have put above crime, above jobs, above education, number one is city infrastructure and basic services. So I think what you're going to see is candidates choosing who they want for mayor based upon who can get those traffic lights fixed, permits issued in the sheriff's race, who can keep the inmates locked up and properly released when it comes time to be released.
Basics.
The basics. Who could manage the clerk's record? This is a back to the basics election. Every poll and every Fox 8 viewer I've talked to said the same thing.
Mike Sherman, thank you.
Good to be here. We'll see everyone on Saturday, live on election night.
There you go. All right, Zach Fradella, let's talk about what the election day forecast is going to be like.